Hey everyone, it's Jeannie and I'm back today to share this Slimline card with you featuring mainly die cuts. So I am using LDRS Creative Slimline Corner Scallop die, which has a slimline card panel and they have 3 different shapes with multiple dies. It's a really good value. So I also wanted to show this little gadget that I just recently got. It is a die cut holder and it's magnetic, so you can have all your little dies and just put them on there for safekeeping so you don't lose them. So it's super cute. I really love it. I will link the Etsy shop that I got it from down below. The owner, Amanda, is super sweet and you should definitely check out her products. They're really cool. So for the card, I cut out a panel that is a little larger than the die cut for the slimline card, and I am stenciling it up. I'm using Ocean Waves from LDRS Creatives. It is a stencil from their newest release, and I think that it's really versatile. This is titled Ocean Waves, and it totally looks like ocean waves, but today I'm using it for my background in my card. And you can't really tell that it's ocean waves at all. So I think that this is one of the versatile stencils that I like because I like being able to use stencils for different purposes. And I'm seeing myself using this for different backgrounds and for different types of cards other than like ocean themes. So I am going in with Pistachios aplenty, but I thought it looked a little flat with just one color, so I also added a little bit of Tropical Sea. It just adds a little blue to it, and it doesn't have to be perfect or anything. And because this stencil is a 6x6, it does not cover the full surface for a slimline card, but I found that there was a really good transition area. It kind of had the same lines in towards the middle of the card, so I was just careful and I put the stencil at the bottom of the card and made sure not to overlap the top portions that are already added with the design of the stencil. So once I'm done, I will run this through a die cutting machine and it will cut out a perfect card panel, and it has stitch lines around the edge, which I really like. It adds just texture to a card. So the idea for this card is based around the die cuts in this set, and I wanted to use the inks from LDRS Creative as well. These colors are Boysenberry Blast, Fandango, and Tickled Pink. I'm just smushing it directly on a piece of white cardstock, and I will be using this cardstock to cut out my little floral die cuts. So I had pulled out the larger flower and the smaller flower, and I decided just to go with the smaller flower because the large flower is actually quite large and it would have taken up a large space on the card, and that wasn't what I was going for. So the idea behind this card generally was I wanted to do a 70s vibe for some reason with a lot of florals and create this whole background with flowers everywhere. However, once I arranged it on the card, I thought it was a little bit busy and it was just too much for me. I normally like a more clean look, and so this just seemed too busy, especially with that stencil. The sentiment that I'm planning on using for this card is thank you, which is a larger sentiment and it works perfectly with this card because it's pretty big. I also thought that I needed a bit of color, so I brought in Prickly Pear Perfection, which is the green. I used the same method and I swiped it on a piece of white cardstock and used the leaf in this die set to cut out all these little leaves. And as I was arranging the leaves, it got more busier and I was just like, no, I can't do this. So I wanted to change up how I was going to put this card together. And I love using florals, and one of my go-to formats for cards with florals is to decorate the corners, and that's exactly what I ended up doing. So I'm going to put 3 florals in the corner, mixing and matching the little circle interior and then adding leaves, and I think that that looks a lot cleaner. I think that if I created this card without that stencil background, I could have put the florals in the same pattern to create that full background, but because I added that stencil, it just made everything look too busy. I ended up also adding sparkle pen to the floral cuts because it looked a little flat and I wanted to add a bit of glitter. So I went through and added this sparkle pen to all the larger floral die cuts, and that just adds a little bit of glitter to everything, which I really like. And I could have put embellishments and things like that, but I think that this just looks really good with the sparkle. And who doesn't like sparkle? So I've been creating cards that are a little bit easier to put together, mainly because I wanted to find cards that I could mass produce. And die cut cards are really easy to mass produce. I've been collecting and going through my stash of my cards made because I want to send them off to senior care centers, because with COVID and all this stuff that's happening in the world, I think that they haven't been getting as many visitors or even being allowed visitors because, you know, seniors are in a higher risk category and they just don't have that much of outside contact now. So there is a card company that collects all these cards and distributes them to different senior centers around the world. And so if you're interested, I'll list that down below so you can send some cards over to them too. But their rules are very easy. You just send over cards that fit in a certain category. So it's not like Christmas cards or anything, but more generic thinking of you, hellos. This card probably wouldn't work because it says thank you, but I'm going to use this idea to create more cards so I can add them to my collection. And I plan to send them over when I have like a full box of cards, so you know I can save on postage because postage is still expensive. I'm just going to put it in one of those priority flat rate boxes and send over a ton. You don't even have to include envelopes, which is really nice, but I placed this huge Amazon order for like 1,000 envelopes, and so I'm just going to include envelopes to make it easier for them too. So I think that that's why I've been looking for more simple cards and quicker cards that I can just mass produce so I can send them off. So I'm just adhering all the little pieces, and I ended up stacking the thank you instead because it looked a little cluttered having it run across the entire card, and I really like how it turned out. So I wanted to add a bit more texture to the card, so I am taking a white Jelly Roll pen and adding these little lines to create that dimension. And I'm never one to use that white Jelly Roll pen on my coloring but I really like how it looks. I just don't think I'm very good at it. But here, these images are so simple that I figured it was foolproof and I couldn't mess it up. So I added a bit of white to the florals, and I end up adding it to the thank you as well, just to make it look more dimensional. So I mounted this on white card base already, and I'll have to tape it down because it keeps wanting to open. I want to add glossy accents to the interior of the florals just to give it a little shine, because this card is so simple. It's just literally floral die cuts on a card panel. And I think that the glossy accents really give it a little something something. And so I'm just adding that to the little circles within the flowers, and then I also decide to add it to the thank you. Of course, I'm going to have to put this aside because it will take time to dry. So I put it aside overnight and it's perfect and I can mess with it. Also, if I keep it nearby, something's going to happen to it. If I'll touch it by accident or I'll put something on it, so I always will put it to the side so it's out of my sight and I won't mess with it. But yeah, that's it for today's card. It's pretty simple. It's fun. It's an easy way to use up your inks as well to create fun colored backgrounds and die cuts. I hope you got some ideas from this card, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!